Good morning, all my wonderful little Jays. I hope you have had a good day and that you enjoyed yesterday's book. Today's book is Out of This World. Oh, we're going to get to go into space. Okay, so I'm going to start reading it. The Magic School Bus Out of This World. Wait a second, need to put on my glasses. Okay, now I can read it. Having a teacher like Miss Frizzle can be out of this world. Take yesterday, for example. When we were rehearsing for our solar system play, suddenly a loud crash came from the hallway. We raced to the door to find Miss Frizzle and Dorothy Ann on the floor. What happened? Rushing to class, Dorothy Ann had run smack into the frizz. Books, films, and papers were everywhere. Well, as I always say, there's nothing like starting the day with a bang, exclaimed Miss Frizzle, as she and Dorothy Ann dusted themselves off. Where have you been, Dorothy Ann? Asked Wanda. We had to start our solar system play without you. Yeah, you're supposed to be Pluto, Carlos said. Arf, arf, he joked. I love this science fiction film. Miss Frizzle, are you all right? There's no time for a play, cried Dorothy Ann. We have to evacuate the school this instant. I've been tracking an asteroid I saw through my telescope. What's an asteroid? Tim asked. It's a big space rock, Dorothy Ann answered, and according to my calculations, sometime in the next 24 hours, it's going to crash into our school and destroy it. It's heading our way. How can we stop it? An asteroid? How are we going to find out if DA is right? Asked Phoebe worriedly. We all had the same thought. That's when Miss Frizzle got a sparkle in her eyes. As my old astronomy teacher used to say, starlight, star bright, there's always a way to find out if you're right. To the bus, class. Oh no, a field trip to outer space. Welcome, crew of the Magic School Bus, announced Miss Frizzle as our old school bus changed into a space bus. Our mission today is to find Dorothy Ann's mysterious space object, follow its path, and if necessary, keep it from crashing into Walker Elementary. And off we went. Woohoo! We had just taken off when suddenly something zoomed by. We raced to the window, but it had already burned out. Maybe that was Dorothy Ann's asteroid, said Keisha hopefully. No, it was a shooting star, Phoebe said. That's right, but shooting stars are meteors, space rocks, explained Miss Frizzle. Most meteors burn up when they enter the Earth's atmosphere. And, added Dorothy Ann, according to my observations, my asteroid is much bigger and is coming from the direction of Saturn. Miss Frizzle shouted some commands at Liz, our pilot. Before we knew it, we were zooming off toward Saturn. Hey guys, look what's coming! Suddenly, we noticed we were off course. We all fell to the right. What's happening? We yelled. We're about to cross paths with the moon, exclaimed Dorothy Ann. We all rushed to the window. Sure enough, the space bus was heading right towards the moon. We're going to crash! But we were heading towards Saturn, not the moon, pointed out Keisha. What changed our path? Forget the man on the moon. We're going to be the kids in the moon. I'm going to be sick. Just when we thought we were moon dust, Dorothy Ann looked up from her map. I figured it out, she announced. Because the moon is so much bigger than we are, we're being pulled in by its gravity. Can't we just change our path? Asked Phoebe. Right on track, Phoebe, responded Fritz. I suggest an orbital insertion burn. In other words, step on it, Carlos said. Liz pressed some buttons. In no time at all, the space bus was traveling on a path toward the moon instead of into it. Man, that was close. It was getting late. We had to find Dorothy Ann's asteroid before it hit our school. That's when we realized we were stuck in a path around the moon. Is it just me, or are we playing Ring Around the Moon? Asked Ralphie. Just then, a small space rock zipped by. It was heading straight for the moon. Kaboom! The space rock smashed into the moon and exploded. The meteorite proves my point, cried Dorothy Ann, her nose in her map. Things still crash into each other, even though there's a lot of room out here in space. And if that meteorite had crashed into our school instead of the moon, explained Miss Frizzle, it would have been goodbye, Walker Elementary. When a space rock does crash into something, it's called a meteorite. The moon has taken a creaming but keeps on beaming. Finally, Liz pulled the space bus out of its path around the moon. Then Wanda saw something fly by her window. I think I see your asteroid, she exclaimed. Dorothy Ann rushed over to Wanda. Wait a second, she said. It's got a tail, which means it's a comet. I don't think what I saw through my telescope was a comet. Comets, meteorites, asteroids, where do they come from? They're just bits of space junk that were left over after the planets formed. Dorothy Ann wrinkled her nose. Gee, maybe this comet is what I saw, she sighed as she looked out the window. Now I'm not sure. I say we blast it to smithereens, exclaimed Carlos. Phoebe remembered that a comet is made of ice and rock. We don't have to blast it, she exclaimed to Carlos. We can melt it. That comet looks more like a scoop of Rocky Road ice cream than a rock. Dorothy Ann wanted us to wait to melt the comet, but we were losing time. Soon it would be out of range. Extend the mega reflector, Liz, ordered Wanda, and bring meltdown. The sun reflected off a giant mirror, and suddenly the comet began to melt. We got it, we cheered. All the rock and dust are coming off and evaporating, noted Keisha. And the dust is making the tail bigger and brighter, continued Tim. We were so excited about melting the comet we could barely hear Dorothy Ann. We destroyed the wrong space object, she said to no one. That got our attention. When we were going around that moon, continued Dorothy Ann, I got myself all turned around. To get to the asteroid, we're going to have to go the other way. How does it feel to have saved Walker Elementary from destruction? No comment. Liz quickly turned the space bus around. Before we even settled into our seats, Dorothy Ann spotted a huge space rock outside our window. There it is, she announced. Whoa, that's one big space rock, cried Tim. Finally, face to face with the asteroid, we had grown a little nervous. How are we ever going to get rid of it, we wondered. If we could melt a comet, how hard could it be to melt an asteroid? Reasoned Arnold. We tried and tried to melt the asteroid, but it just wouldn't melt. It looks like it's made of metal, noticed Tim. Metal and rock, to be exact, responded Miss Frizzle. Is it me, or is it the asteroid not melting? If we can't melt it, what are we going to do? Asked Wanda worriedly. Miss Frizzle encouraged us not to give up. The path to success leads in many different directions. That's it, exclaimed Dorothy Ann. We don't need to destroy the asteroid. We just need to change its path so it doesn't hit our school. Then Carlos came up with a great idea. He had noticed earlier that the space bus had a 2-seater space pod that could detach from the space bus, and now was the perfect time to use it. He told us that attached to the space pod was a rammer slammer magnet. With the magnet, the space pod could be attached to the metallic asteroid. Once attached, the space pod's rockets could pull the asteroid off course. With the Fritz as co-captain, Carlos pulled on his space helmet. "Ready to launch," announced Wanda, hand on the launch lever. "Launch!" exclaimed Dorothy Ann, and off they went. Woohoo! On the Ramaslamma magnet, shouted Miss Frizzle as the asteroid came into view. "Here we go," Carlos called out. From inside the space bus, we watched the space pod attach itself to the asteroid. Where it touched. Then Carlos and Miss Frizzle fired the space pod's rockets. They tried and tried to move the asteroid, but it wouldn't move. "Oh bad, oh bad, oh bad, 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 bad. The space pod's rockets aren't powerful enough to pull the asteroid out of its path," exclaimed Dorothy Ann in a panic. Then we noticed that the Frizz and Carlos couldn't pull the magnet off the asteroid. It was stuck. What were we going to do? Just when we thought we were doomed, Phoebe jumped up from her seat. "If the space bus becomes bigger and heavier than the asteroid, wouldn't our gravity pull it into a path around us?" she asked. "Terrific! Then we can babysit the asteroid for the rest of our lives," responded Wanda. "Not if we get rid of it," cried Dorothy Ann. She knew exactly what to do. Get rid of the asteroid? Here's how we do it. Dorothy Ann drew a picture of a huge space bus with the asteroid traveling in a path around it. "If we get very big, the asteroid will swing around us," she explained as she pointed to her diagram. On another piece of paper, she drew a tiny space bus. "If we get small again, we'll lose our gravitational pull. Then we'll send the asteroid flying into the sun and it'll be gone forever." She sketched the asteroid flying off the page. We thought Dorothy Ann's idea sounded out of this world, except what about Carlos and Miss Frizzle? Leave it to Dorothy Ann to work this out. "Maybe they can't get the pod off the asteroid, but they can escape the pod," she said. With the plan all mapped out, Dorothy Ann got on the microphone to explain it to Miss Frizzle. "I have a plan." The asteroid moved closer and closer to the Earth and to our school. We had to work fast. "You have to make the bus as big and heavy as you can," Dorothy Ann instructed Liz. "At least as heavy as the moon," Arnold added. The space bus shook and heaved. Before we knew it, we went from the size of a comet to the size of an asteroid, until finally we were as big as the moon. Bigger, heavier. "It's working, Miss Frizzle. The gravity of the space bus is pulling us in," shouted Carlos. "Prepare for ejection," Miss Frizzle exclaimed. Meanwhile, inside the space bus, we opened the hatch to let them in. "Eject!" yelled the Fritz, and in they flew. "Here it comes! Duck!" It only looks as if it's going to hit us, but it's going to go around us in an orbit. Now, all we had to do was get smaller at just the right time and send that asteroid on a path into the sun. Dorothy Ann explained everything to Liz. "Shrink us back to normal size and release the asteroid from our gravitational pull." "You can do it, Liz," encouraged Wanda. "You've got the right stuff." 10 seconds to release, announced Dorothy Ann. "Smaller, lighter." We gathered around Liz and counted together. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release! Kapow! We did it! We cheered as we shrank back to normal size. We watched the asteroid zoom toward the sun. Way to go, Lieutenant Liz! Way to go, Lieutenant Liz, exclaimed Dorothy Ann, patting her on the head. Mission accomplished! Miss Frizzle directed the space bus toward Earth. Prepare for our re-entry, she exclaimed. We're going home! Yay! Awesome! We did it! Beam us down, Lizzie! Bring, bring! Magic School Bus. Hit the speakerphone, Liz. Hello, Magic School Bus. NASA. This is NASA calling. I understand you were trying to reach us. Well, actually, the kids were trying to reach you. Understood. Well, we just read your book about space rocks, and we liked it. Really? However, for the future, not all asteroids are magnetic. Well, we know that. But some are made of iron and nickel, and those are magnetic, right? Yes, and some are made of stone, and those aren't magnetic. So let's just make that clear, all right? Yes, Mom. Another thing. It would have taken weeks for the asteroid to reach the sun. You made it seem like it could happen in seconds. We had to fake it. Our book is only about 30 pages long. What could we do? Well, okay. One last thing. If your kids were really in a space bus, they'd be floating around, not walking around. But we probably know the reason why you did that. You had to fake it, right? Right. Whew. And that is the end of the story, Out of This World. So I do have two students that I need to wish happy birthday to, Levi Gardner and Laurel Volpe. So you know how I do this. So I have my birthday song for Levi and Laurel. Happy, happy birthday, it's such a special day. Happy, happy birthday, I hope it goes your way. Hey, happy, happy birthday, may all your dreams come true. Happy, happy birthday from Mrs. Epps to you. I love you, little Jays. I love every one of you, and I look forward to reading to you again tomorrow. Have a good day.